Today we're going to be talking about how kindness can literally shake your reality.
From beautiful seas to flourishing legacies.
There are two ways that our reality, the way we see the world around us, the true world around us, is shook. The first way is through something which is called cognitive dissonance. And what that is that there's this way of thinking that we have that we believe to be true, and then there's a new way that is actually true, and both of them clash together, and they're both at war with one another inside of our brains. So we're having these two different ideas clashing, and then there's this uneasiness, and it doesn't make sense, and things are changing, right? Things are being shook up. Your reality is literally being shook up. The second way that our reality can be shook is when someone makes us believe or tries. No one can make us do anything, right? But people can have a very strong influence on us, and a person might have a very strong influence on how we see reality. And this is extremely, extremely powerful in how they are able to do this. And it's very interesting as well. And the technical term for it is called gaslighting. Now, for those of you who don't know what gaslighting is, it's a pretty big word that is thrown around today. It is the idea of your reality not being as it seems, and someone telling you that what your reality is not what you believe it to be. And it comes from this movie, which was made years and years ago. It was a woman whose husband was doing these little things. He was moving things around in the house. He was doing certain things, and she began to question her reality, and she began to question if what she was experiencing was real at all, until it got to a sense where she was really questioning herself and her identity. And that is how gaslighting works. That's the idea behind it. It's such an insidious method of control. Reason why is because when our reality is shook by someone around us, the world and how we see it to be without the blinders, how the world actually is shook. And what that tends to happen is you begin to question the things around you. And the reason why, like I said, it is so dangerous is because you begin to question your sense of self. And when you begin to question your sense of self, another person will have more control over you as a person, and they will literally be able to control you through your emotions, through your reality, through your doubt in yourself. So what do? There are so many videos out there on gaslighting. There are so many valuable resources out there. Even watch the movie and you'll get an idea of what gaslighting is. So the question is, what do you do? What do you do when the reality that you live in feels like it's crumbling in front of you? You've interacted with someone, right? You've talked to them, and the way you perceived the conversation was in a certain way, and then after they tell you that you were the one who was doing all of these things, and you said all of these things, and you're the one who's in pain, and you're the one who's angry, and all of these things, right? And what happens is you begin to doubt yourself. And now this is where the topic of the video is how your kindness can shake your reality. And the reason why we doubt ourselves, this is the reason why we doubt ourselves, is because we are kind. We are too kind. We are too compassionate and empathetic towards the abuser. Empathy is important. There is a place, and there should always be a place for empathy. But when it is in front of someone who is an abuser and someone who has hurt you, and they have shown patterns of this toxic behavior, then empathy is something that they do not deserve. They do not deserve your empathy, right? At least for you to shake your reality in believing what they say to be true, because you have a kind heart and you want to understand the world as it is. And this is not a weakness, but it can become a weakness when it is misused by the person who is trying to control you or abuse you in any way. And what happens is your kindness becomes a weakness. That is when your kindness becomes a weakness. And I want to also say that it's important to have empathy. It's important to be kind, and all of that comes, and it will come with proper healing and with time as well, where your trust comes in people a little bit more. So the way you deal with it is you step out of that interaction with that person, or with that environment, or with that situation, because environments can also feel like they're gaslighting you, especially when you live your life a certain way and then everyone else is telling you that they live in a different way. And in Islam, there's this hadith, there's this narration which talks about the strangers. The Muslim will be like a stranger. Islam will come as something strange. It will end as something strange. This idea of being a stranger and feeling like the world, is it right? Is it wrong? Am I the one who's a little bit wrong? And that's how the world can sometimes gaslight you in the norms of society as well. But in regard to people and society, what we can do is step back into ourselves and spend more time by ourselves, where we grow and we learn and we unravel those blinders and we get to know our true self, and we can see the world as it is. So next time you have a conversation with someone who is trying to control the narrative, who is trying to gaslight you, who is trying to do all of these manipulative methods, guilt trip you, whatever it is, you don't see it in a way that you see their pain and you care deeply about them and you empathize with them and all of these things. You see it in a way, this is what is happening right now, this is the reality, and this is how I'm going to deal with it. But dealing with it, I will choose to deal with it with empathy. And that's where the empathy comes in. You deal with the situation with empathy, not in trying to understand the person and their toxic behavior. This is with toxic people. With everyone else, with people who you feel safe around, with people who have really built that trust and are around you, then that empathy will always be there, that give them the excuses. But a toxic person, a person who has proven themselves over time with patterns of behavior to not be very nice people, and they are shaking your reality, don't see them from a lens of kindness or empathy. See them from objective truth, right? And then you can insert your empathy in how you deal with them, in a method of kindness, of clarity, discernment, but clarity. This does not work for me anymore, and I'm just telling you what I need. And unfortunately, I cannot be in this relationship anymore, or I cannot talk to you on these days anymore. And that I'm just telling you what I need. They can give you all that they want, but you've dealt with it in a kind manner. You've not literally fought fire with fire, which a lot of the times when you do this with some toxic people, they literally get a rise out of it, and you're doing exactly what they want. You're dealing with it from a place of response and not reactivity. And then you can choose how you deal with the situation. And it might not always be in one way, it could be in different ways. But the whole point is to come to a place where we are not blinded by our empathy. Our empathy, like I said, in this toxic situation, but also a people-pleasing response, which is related to our empathy as children. We are not blinded by our childhood trauma in dealing with these people. So I really hope that you found this useful, and I hope you have a beautiful and blessed day. Please share this video with anyone who you feel might benefit, or this audio if you are listening to it. Leave us a review, subscribe, and also I have a free downloadable for anyone who wants to read a chapter of my book from the woke writer. It is the chapter on surrender, and it's all about letting go. Have a beautiful and blessed day, everyone. Peace.